The legendary creatures known as dinosaurs have captivated humans to the point that they have been included in a plethora of media, including have fantasized about having them in real life. But whatever your opinion of the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World films may be, here's a hint. Some of them were terrible and had a major impact on popular culture. Then there are all those science fiction and fantasy shows that depict them as part of a modern world, and you can't help but wonder what it would be like to have them here. The sad irony is that some people actually believe that dinosaurs exist in our world today. With that said, here are 20 instances of dinosaurs that have been filmed and supposedly seen in real life. Actual creature. Let me start this video by saying that I am fully aware that I am likely to mispronounce a lot of words. It's just my personality. So, where should we begin? I propose we title it Madness Misinformation. Maybe people are misinterpreting what we're seeing here, but there are actually quite a few different kinds of dinosaurs that could be considered. Starting with the pterosaur, sometimes spelled pterodactyl, is a good place to start because there are so many different kinds of flying dinosaurs. Here's a joke for you, though. Why don't you hear a pterodactyl going to the bathroom? Because their pee is silent. The video in question that I'm showing you comes from Idaho, where someone allegedly filmed at pterosaur high in the air flapping its wings and going across the sky. Then thankfully, a lot of people realized that it was not a dinosaur for a lot of reasons. First, I'm sorry to say that they're all extinct. Secondly, the reason is very basic. If you look at the flapping of the so-called dinosaur, you'll notice it's a bit too stiff and rigid. While it is impossible to know exactly how they flapped with them being gone for so long, the way that it's done here is a bit too basic, if that makes sense. Like it's done just enough to make people think that it's really flapping when it's actually not doing. It's true that many people have theories. One theory is that it was a 3D model that was superimposed onto the video. It would totally make sense with today's technology and explain why the flapping looked off. Another theory is that it was a drone, which is also plausible. Drones have been used to scare people in the past, so why not use this technique to make someone think something from millions of years ago is alive and well? So yeah, it was a fake video, but hey, at least they tried. Before we continue, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon right now. I'm going to start with the most obvious one. This picture purports to be of a Gigantosaurus, and it appears to be crossing a road that someone happened to be on. Should we just smash it and point out how it's fake? I really want to. The picture has a grainy quality, which is intentionally there. Now let's talk about the second major reason you can tell it's fake, which is its size. If the dinosaur were in front of a car, which is hard to tell in the shot, and their dash cam My backyard dinosaur. It's not a phony video, so we can actually give it credit for certain things. Based on what we can see, it's easy to understand why people might assume Florida was inhabited by prehistoric beings. After all, it is Florida. A woman was examining the security footage of her backyard when she had the bizarrest sighting. What appeared to be a baby dinosaur, the tiny size, the way it dashed across the yard, and what appeared to be a tail dragging behind it all led the homeowners to believe it was a raptor, like Blue from Jurassic World. The poor quality of the footage, as we've discussed before, makes it even more difficult to determine what the beast actually is. Let's be honest. If dinosaurs could appear in any other place, it would most certainly be in Florida. Why not this? Weird stuff happens all the time there, so why not this? Fortunately, there's a more reasonable explanation. People weighed in with their speculations about what it could have been. For instance, someone said that it resembled a species of bird that's known to live in the area. Another person mentioned that they've had similar birds in their backyard before. Still another person thought that the video flashed to show a dog with a collar and leash, with the darkness partially masking its form. To be clear, no one has ever provided a definitive answer about the video. However, given that we haven't heard any news reports of massive dinosaurs rampaging across Florida, I'm going to guess that it wasn't a raptor. Would probably be dead number, similar to a dinosaur. Now, here's a question that I'm sure many of you are wanting to know. Is it actually possible to clone a dinosaur the way that they did in the Jurassic series? Well, before we get to an answer, let's have a look at this. It went viral via a person from China holding what appeared to be a rather lifelike dinosaur in his arms. The nature of them made many wonder if China had secretly been able to make a clone of a dinosaur, and that this was the result. But to be clear, it is not a real animal, a specimen from Jurassic World's exhibition in 2020. And as you would guess, they went and did everything they could to make those things look real, so that people could get close to them and potentially hold them. Now, to be clear, cloning is something that we have the technology to do on a certain level. You should out-dolly the sheep, but unlike sci-fi movies will tell you, it's not an easy process. And there's a reason that we're not cloning everything in sight. It's theoretically possible for people to clone dinosaurs. Sure, if there was enough DNA material, you have to remember that in Jurassic Park, the man behind it all had to get not only dinosaur DNA, but infuse that DNA with other creatures in order to make their DNA chains complete, including frogs and insects. Now, whether it would work here is speculation at best. You'd also need to get really good dinosaur DNA. You can't get that from a fossil in the movie. It was a mosquito caught in amber, that it had the DNA that they needed. But either way, right now, you don't have to worry about dinosaur clones roaming around the Earth in the future. However, the raptor of Russia. Now we have to talk about Russia. It's bad enough talking about Florida. But in this clip that's allegedly from the KGB of all places, they accidentally released a raptor and managed to catch it on video as it ran away. There is so much wrong with this video, and a lot of them on this list, that it honestly hurts my IQ. That is, first and foremost, it doesn't really look like a raptor. And secondly, as the video will nicely point out, it kind of looks and runs like an ostrich, which would not be in Russia. But the video is already fake, so who really cares about the geography? And look, the quality of the footage is garbage. It's almost as though the KGB doesn't have any good camera equipment. We'll focus on the KGB angle for a minute. We actually can totally believe that they would be up for cloning and let it loose. The KGB is cold and unforgiving. If that dinosaur had existed in the real world, it would have remained safely in prison for all the time the KGB wanted. Prehistoric beast. What do you think about this plot twist? This next video is not fake at all. It's actually 100% real. And I'm talking about a living dinosaur in the abstract accents, though. See you later, buddy, I gotta. Because as many of you will likely know, not every creature from prehistoric eras were dinosaurs. Many of them were ones that have descendants to this day. And they're not anything like dinosaurs. One such creature is a fish. That's right, there were tons of fish in the ancient world. And one of them that survived to this day was the sturgeon. Fast forward to 2022, and a guy from Canada caught a massive sturgeon that was over 3 meters long and weighed a whole heck of a lot. The fishermen were stunned that they had caught one of this size. And I don't blame them for saying that. I mean, just look at how big the fish is. Thankfully, these were rather kind fishermen, so after tagging it, they then put it back into the river to let it live its life. There are many such living fossils in our world today, so in the abstract sense, you could say that dinosaurs do still live among us because there are still remnants of their time period in the world. An extinct species of dinosaur. In case you recall Jurassic World, just before things went horribly wrong, there was this enormous prehistoric fish called a mosasaurus that swam out of the water to delight onlookers. It was based on a real-life dinosaur from the ancient seas and was just as massive as promised. In fact, it could devour a giant land dinosaur if it so desired. It was a brilliant way to cap off the film. Climax, don't you think? Anyways, naturally, ever since the creature was seen on film, people have been wondering if it could possibly live in our oceans today. On a certain level, that mystery is fair to ponder, because the depths of The ocean have not been fully charted by a long shot, and thus theoretically something like it could live down there. The problem is that people love posting videos like this and saying that this is definitive proof of such a possibility, when it's very obvious that it's not. There are numerous things that are wrong with the video, including how we're able to see the creature, despite the depths that it would have likely been at in the ocean or where this rig was filming at. But hey, if you think it's real, by all means continue to believe. Seeing that. This next one is from around 6 years ago, and it's completely fake, but it looks real when you look closely. Apparently, 3 friends were playing in the backyard when they spotted a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Of course, they pointed at it and made sure it was on camera, but how can we tell it's fake? Well, apart from the obvious fact that T-Rexes are extinct, it's actually pretty simple. Just look at how relaxed they are while passing the dinosaur. First up, the woman in the trio, she's straight up looking at the dinosaur in the shot, and yet she doesn't even react at first. It's the guy next to her that reacts first about the T-Rex, and the guy with the camera doesn't even bat an eye about what he's filming. Secondly, that moment that you see something like this, you're not going to be able to hold that selfie pose of filming. You're going to want to switch to the straight-on perspective so that you can potentially zoom in and get a much better shot of it. And third, going back to how calm these people are, if you saw one of the most aggressive and vicious and destructive dinosaurs in the entire world, there's no way you're just going to keep on walking as if nothing's happening. You're going to run for cover and for your life so that you don't get in its way. And finally, if you look at that T-Rex, you're going to notice that it's just doing some very basic movements, and so it doesn't really look like a real T-Rex at all. You know, people would have noticed it and it would have been stomping all over the place. But anyways, I will give props to the video for its editing, as the T-Rex did look like it was there. But that's about all it gets. Again, if it was real in the world, everyone would have heard about it by now, and a lot of people would be panicking, and a lot of people